Welcome to MVSU News on WVSD TV.
This is Dealer Dale reporter for MVSU News, and right here I have one of the great blues singers with me, is the one and only Bobby Rush. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. How you feel?
Doing great.
I feel if I get any better, I don't know what to do. It's all right with me.
Okay.
Life is good.
Yeah. As you see, we have this book right here, and one of the first questions I want to ask you: what inspired you, or?
Well, what inspired me to write the book at this late time was to get my message out. But I've been inspired to do something like this a long time, but I wasn't ready to do it because I stepped on too many toes that I knew when I wanted to write the book many years ago. A lot of people I want to write about and want to talk about were still living. And now most of the people I want to write about and talk about is past and gone. But the reason I didn't want to talk about it because particularly in this book, there was a writer, Willie Dixon, who wrote for Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf, Jimmy Reed, and on and on and on and on. But I know that his children are going to bite at me and have some lash at me from some point or another because that wasn't true. Maybe he was a good writer, maybe he wasn't. But I know this. How you going to write for a bunch of men who couldn't read or write? So that tells me that he lied about some of the things he was doing in his writing. And then Willie Dixon's grandchildren is getting a lot of money from what he wrote, what he say he wrote, publishing a whole bit. But then what about Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf, Jimmy Reed, all the people that he say he wrote songs for? What about their children? I happen to note that a lot of the things he said he wrote, he didn't write about. So that's one thing I want to talk about in this book. I want to write about those kind of things. And everything about this book is the truth. I stuttered when I said everything. There's a couple things that I made a lie about a little bit. When I was 15 years old, I went to play the juke joint, so I painted me some mustache. I was 15, say I was 18. I didn't have no crayon or marker, so I would stretch a match and blow it out. Stretch another and blow it out. And I would take 4 or 5 of the matches and I would draw me a mustache, like a Fu Manchu. Put my hat on and have my head down when I walk in the club. Say, how old are you, boy? 18. It wasn't 15. I made a lie about that. The next thing I made a lie about, I said I wouldn't sleep with a fat woman no more. I made a lie about that too. but nevertheless, if you can't forgive me for those couple lies, then I ain't studying you.
It's great. It's great. Well, I know you get this question asked a lot, but I want to know, how do you get the name Bobby Rush?
I got the name Bobby Rush because I searched for the name. My name is Emmett Ellis Jr., named after my father, who was a preacher and a pastor for 2 churches. I just knew when I was 7, 8 years old that I was going to be this big superstar. I felt it in my heart, that I could just see myself coming to town in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, where I was living then, was Emmett Ellis Jr. coming to town, and my dad is a pastor of the church. I didn't want that on my dad. So I looked for the name, changed my name. I looked for President Eisenhower, was a big name to me, a little small country boy. I wanted my name Bobby Eisenhower, but that was 2 names. I wanted to say about Bobby President Truman. I said, well, I could be Bobby Truman. That was 2 names. But finally, my first cousin, his name was Robert, we call him Bobby. I said, that's a name I can use. How I come up with that name? Because if you notice, nobody called me Bobby. Nobody called me Rush. Everybody called me Bobby Rush. 1 syllable. It's Bobby Rush. It's a lot of Rushes, a lot of Bobbies, but I put 1 Bobby Rush. Look at that.
I want to know what motivated you or inspired you to be a blues musician.
My daddy. My daddy inspired me. Of course, not other things, that Louis Jordan, Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, B.B. King. All the older guys was older than I, not that much older, but old enough to influence me. My daddy, my cousin gave me a guitar when I was about 7, 8 years old. And I hid it from my dad because I thought my daddy wanted me to play in the church gospel song. But the gospel was the last thing on my mind. I wanted to play the blues, man. So one day my daddy said, Junior, I'm named after my father now, you know. I said, yes, sir. He said, boy, bring me that guitar here. Guitar? How he know I had a guitar? I called myself hiding in the barn, on the farm. And I brought it down to him, nervous because I thought he was going to take my guitar. He said, sit down, boy. Let me sing a little song I used to sing to a little girl when I was a little older than you. Well, I thought me and my daddy being a preacher, he going to sing, glory, glory, hallelujah, when I laid my burden down. I used to sing about my mom. But he didn't sing about my mom. He didn't sing about a church song at all. He picked the guitar up, he was stronger. He said, me and my girl, I went to Chinky Pin hunting. She fell down and I saw something. I said, wow, Daddy? I said, sing it again. Now, what I wanted my daddy to do was sing the next verse. I know the first verse, she fell down, he saw something. I wanted to ask my daddy what he saw. So I wanted to find me some pencil and piece of paper because I couldn't ask him. I thought maybe if I get him the pencil paper, he would draw it. Then and just put it on the paper. Just draw it to me so I can see what it looked like. Then he said, let me sing it again. I said, sing it again, Daddy. He said, me and my girl went to Chinky Pin hunting. She fell down and I saw something. My mom was in the kitchen cooking. She said, me don't sing that kind of song to that boy. He went to sing it again. I said, Daddy, here come Mama. And I said, Daddy, how big was she? He said, 350-pound boy, about like that, about that wide. And I said, well, what she had on? He said, nothing but a dress. In my little mind, a fat lady falling down. I know the first verse, she fell down, he saw something. I wanted to ask my daddy what he saw. So I wanted to find me some pencil and piece of paper because I couldn't ask him. I thought maybe if I get him the pencil paper, he would draw it. Then and just put it on the paper, just draw it to me so I can see what it looked like. Then he said, let me sing it again. I said, sing it again, Daddy. He said, me and my girl went to Chinky Pin hunting. She fell down and I saw something. My mom was in the kitchen cooking. She said, me don't sing that kind of song to that boy. He went to sing it again. I said, Daddy, here come Mama. And I said, Daddy, how big was she? He said, 350-pound boy, about like that, about that wide. And I said, well, what she had on? He said, nothing but a dress. In my little mind, a fat lady falling down. Speaking about my daddy being influenced on everything I do, blues-wise and everything else, so much respect I have for my daddy. So my mother was in the kitchen cooking. She said, me don't sing that kind of song to that boy. But I came back and asked him again. I said, Dad, sing it again. He went to sing it again. My mother was coming to the back. He went to sing it. He said, me and my girl went to Chinky Pin hunting. She fell down. I said, Daddy, here come Mama. Well, my daddy was sitting there, just came out the field with his shirt off, big arm. He was like Muhammad Ali, 6'5", shirt off, black as my pants, and my daddy just solid, muscular kind of a guy. I said, Dad, here come Mom. He out like he didn't hear me when I said that. He went to sing it. He said, me and my girl went to Chinky Pin hunting. My mama walked up behind him. She fell down, and I kept running. So I don't know what the song would have been. After my dad looked back at my mom, whatever he saw in my mom's face, he said, he kept running. So I don't know what it would have been. So from that day, I knew I was going to be a blues singer because I wanted to sing borderline songs that had double meaning, double untranquil meaning. I want to do this kind of thing. Then by that time, Louis Jordan came out with a song that he wrote about a monkey and a buzzard. Apparently were good friends. So in this writing, apparently the monkey was a better friend to the buzzard than the buzzard was to the monkey. So the buzzard invited the monkey for a ride. Excuse me. And he got him in the air to ride him. And he started doing like this to throw the monkey off for whatever reason. And the monkey put his tail around his neck to hold on. But the buzzard perceived that the monkey was trying to choke him. He said, "Hey, buzzard, you choking me." He said, "Straighten up and fly right. Stop all this ziggity-zag." So I started writing songs. The song was about straighten up and fly right. My first gold record was Chicken Heads. I write about what I knew about. I'm a country boy. Write about Chicken Head. And when I wrote Chicken Head, Calvin Carter asked me, said, "Bobby Rush," Jimmy Reed, all the guys were sitting around saying, "I'm going to record you, man. You got a song?" I said, "Yeah, I got a song." So what's the name of it? It's Chick Head. He said, "Chick Head." Leo Ostel was a preacher. He said, "We can't cut no record like Chick Head, man. That's a borderline kind of a situation." I said, "Well, Chicken Head." He said, "Oh, yeah, we can write about that and cut that because you're from down south." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Yeah, y'all eat chicken head and chicken feet down south." I didn't say anything. He said, "How do the song go?" I said, "Daddy told me on his dying bed, give up your heart, but don't lose your head. You came along, girl, what did I do? I lost my heart and my head went too," which had nothing to do with the chicken. He said, "Well, we got to have a B-side, the second side." I said, "I got the B-side, so what's the name of it?" I said, "Mary Jane." He said, "Oh, yeah, man, I had a girl did me wrong. Mary Jane, that's a good song to do." And I wasn't talking about no girl at all. I was talking about reefer, getting high, you know. And so I had two guys didn't know what I was talking about. So over their heads. So I went in the studio and did the record. And the record was 8 or 9 weeks after the record was out, it went gold. I sold about 900,000 records on the record in 8 days. I sold over 1.5 million records in 2 weeks. First time a black man ever did this out of his trunk. With no record company, no nothing, just me selling 1 million records out of my trunk. You know.
That's great.
So that's kind of the story of Bobby Rush.
It's great. It's great. I want to know, what are some of the obstacles that you have to face as a musician in the South?
In the South? Mm-hmm. Oh, God. I left my little hometown. Let me show you. I was born in a little place called Homer, Haynesville, Louisiana. But I left in 1947, went to Pine Bluff, Arkansas with my father, who was a pastor of a church and a preacher. I wanted to leave the South because we had the white fountain and black fountain. You go in the back door to get a sandwich. You couldn't go in places, no hotel for black people to stay. If it was, it wasn't but a few of them. Unless someone white vouch for you to get in there to stay overnight and what have you. I wanted to go to Chicago, where I would have my freedom, because Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf, all the guys that I knew was older than myself, were leaving the South, going to California, New York, Chicago especially, for a better way of life. And I wanted to do this because Chicago, I thought, was going to be my heaven. But in 1951, when I got to Chicago, J.B. Lenore, Muddy Waters, taking me to a suburb of Chicago, Blue Island. When I got to Blue Island, they introduced me to a man who had a white audience, a white man who had a white club and white audience. And we went round to the back. He hired me for $7.50 a night, me and the band, 1951. I thought I was in my heaven, because this is where I want to get my freedom. But when I went back to his place, he hired me to work behind a curtain every night. They wanted to hear my music, but they didn't want to see my face. I talk about this in this book. I had run into a brick wall. There were 2 or 3 brick walls in my life, but at the first brick wall I ran into, after I gotten what I call grown. My first brick wall was with my mama. My daddy had 36 children in his family. My granddaddy had 36 children. I never knew but 20 6 of them, I think it was, and 21 of them live over 100 years old. Point I'm getting to is that in Mississippi, my great-grandfather, who had 6 kids by my great-grandmama, and he also had 5 kids by his wife, who was a slave around the Jackson, Mississippi area. So when my great-granddaddy was on his dying bed, he wanted to divide his land up to his children. And the white half-brother took the black half-sister and brother and took them to Eudora, Arkansas, and dropped them off in a barn. They raised themselves. That's how my dad met my mom. That's how I was born in Louisiana. But my roots in Mississippi. On my mom's side, if you look back after my grandmama, there is no black ladies, black men's, all white people. My mom was my babysitter when we was in public. She was my mama when we got home. My dad was her chauffeur when we was out in public. He was her husband and my daddy when we was at home. I lived with that all of my life. I remember when I was a little kid, I went to a store. My daddy was getting hay out of a wagon. And my 2 white men on a horse drove up, and one man was leading the horse. My mother named Maddie. He said, Maddie, so what you doing with this nigga? She said, I'm a nigger too. He said, no, you're not. She said, you don't believe it? Ask Mr. Bear. Mr. Bear was the guy who owned the store. She went in, said, Junior, that's what she called me. Sit in the back of the wagon. I sit in the back of the wagon. I did not know why she wanted me to sit in the back of the wagon then. But she wanted me to sit in the back of the wagon because right then she was babysitting me. She wasn't my mama. So when she went in the store with the white guy, my mama was white too. And I could see them friendly to my mama. And my daddy probably didn't ever know what my mama was doing. And when my dad came out of the barn with the hay, the load in the wagon, on my way home, she made me sit in the back of the wagon until we got out of sight of the white people. Then she said, Junior, come over here and sit with me. Then I was sitting with her, her son then, that was my mama. But just a few minutes ago, she was babysitting me. That had always dampened my soul. Because my mama had to deny me as her son because she was around white people, because my mom is blue-eyed and blonde hair. That was always, it was always hard for me to even talk about it. Because that was the second brick wall. The third brick wall, when I went to Chicago to get a job, John Lee Hooker, Muddy Waters, Bo Diddley, Jimmy Reed, Smoker Hall, John Lee Hooker, and all these guys were sitting around. I went into church in 1951 or 52 to get a contract to record. I made a mistake in saying to Bo Diddley and the guy was sitting around, just fellow men's. There was a pamphlet on the table said the union was merging 10 and 208. I said to Bo Diddley, he was sitting next to me, I said, Bo Diddley, this is going to be good for us as colored men. At that time, wasn't black men or white men. It was colored men. He said, where you get that information? I said, it's right here. And I read it to them. Bo Diddley laughed, Muddy Water laughed. And a little sneaker around the table, Willie Dixon was there. By that time, Leonard and Phil was 2 brothers. One came out, said, what y'all laughing about? They said, Bobby Rush said the union is merging. He said, yeah, it's in the paper. And by that time, his brother, Phil, came out. Said, what did that boy say? He said, the union is merging. He said, where you get that information? His brother told him, off your desk. He threw it to me and said, boy, what that say? And I read it to him. He turned around and told his brother, we can't use that nigga because he can read. Muddy Water and them got the job. I never got the job. Then later on, I went to work at Rush Street in Chicago at a place where it said no color allowed. I'm going somewhere with this. This is how I gotten to be where I am now, owning my masters. Let me, so the audience can understand. I got a Grammy this year, the best record of the year. So you say now this year. 3 years ago, I got the Grammy, my first Grammy. I've been up for Blues Award 29 times or 30 times, but I won 18 of them. And before that, 4 years ago, I had the box set of the year. How you gonna have the box set of the year if you don't own the masters? There's no blues singer in this world owning the masters that I do. It was a dangerous situation. How I got in some of the masters? Because the way I lied and connived and got it. Let me tell you how that was. 1950, early 50s, I got a job downtown working for a Chinese guy. He hired me, and I took in 3 white guys to do an audition. I did the audition, and when I did the audition, this guy called Kunch, he said, Bobby Rush, this is going to be good because you're going to integrate this place. Well, I was just a little dumb country boy. I had never heard integrate before. I didn't know what it was. I went with these 3 white guys to do the audition. He hired me. On a Wednesday night, I was supposed to start at 9 o'clock. They had 2 bands. One play hour on, hour off. Hour on and hour off. We had 4 go-go girls dance. They danced 15 minutes apiece. So when I went back to work that night at 9 o'clock, I stopped at 8:30. I had 4 black guys with me, not the 3 white guys. 4 black guys with me now to play behind me as a band. And when I got there at 8:30, I sat in the car to about 10 minutes to 9. The black guys didn't understand why I was waiting this long. They didn't know, my band members. Because I couldn't go to the door because I didn't have any white guys with me. In case he wanted to fire me, I wanted to get there 10 minutes before time so we didn't have time to fire me. So when I got there about 10 minutes to 9, he had me say, where the band? I said, right here. He said, oh God, you gonna get me killed. We can't integrate this place. Second time I heard integrate. So he said, well, come on in. I went on in. They said, we don't have no dress room for you guys. Cause the white band, I couldn't dress with the white band. They get in an old cloak room and put a chain on it, clean it out. That's where he put us and put a chain on it and locked the door. If you want to go to the bathroom, you knock 3 times. If you want to do number 2, it's 4 times. If you want something to eat, it's 5 times. And they brought it to you one by one. They wouldn't let us mess with the order, wouldn't let us mix with the other band at all. So the young lady was there. He said, Bobby Rush, I heard what they said about you. She's just a dancer, never met me before. She said, well, we're going to integrate this place. That's the 3rd time I heard integrate. It was eating me up. I said, what is integrate? Oh, I thought I was this young, good-looking, 8 and 20-year-old kid. Oh, I thought I was handsome, and I thought I had the girls by the hand, whatever. And I didn't know what integrate was. I was too dumb to understand it. I said, I know. I said to myself, I know what integrate is. They're going to lock me up in a room with a bunch of ladies, and we're gonna make babies and have good slaves. That I thought. I said, man, I could be a good integrator. This is what I thought. That's dumb as I'm gonna be an integrator, man. So that didn't. When I found out what integrator was, so I went up to get. Lady told me, said, Bobby Rush, said, I'm gonna get sick tonight, and give you half of my time. They're 15 minutes apiece. I asked the lady, she said, Italian girl, about 25 years old. I said, how you feel now? She said, I feel good, fool. I'm too square to understand what she tried to give me a piece of the action on the stage. We playing in the pit. So she got sick and winked her eye at me. She walked off the stage. I jumped up on the stage with me, get tied down to Chuck Berry, Johnny B. Good, and just got my hair slicked back. I guess I was looking like Chuck Berry or whatever it was. But anyway, this big fat guy was in the corner smoking a cigar. He laughed. I said, man, I got me one fan if I don't have nobody else. By 2 o'clock that night, Somebody said on the microphone, Bobby Rush, come to the office, come out the speaker. I went to the bar. I said, listen, someone called me to come to the office. He said, oh yeah, the boss want to see you. I just know I'm gonna get fired. I walked back and walked right in. The guy was sitting back there smoking a cigar. It was the same guy. One laughing. I said, wow, what is this? I went back. He said, hey boy, you scared of me? So I said, no, I ain't afraid of you. He said, hey, Country, called that guy who hired me, come here. This is my boy, okay? He's my boy. He integrated my place. Man, this integrate thing eat me up. He said, hey boy, you want to make a lot of money, boy? I said, depending on what I got to do. So yeah, you don't tell me what to do. You do what the hell I tell you to do. I don't know who he is and everything. And I used to say, Country, this is my boy. He said, I want you to do. He said, you get Red Fox, that Sammy Davis Jr. boy. You get him over here and work with you, okay? You know, I had no Red Fox, didn't know Sammy Davis Jr. that well, but I met him a few times. He's a little bit around the same age as me, not that much older than I. And I said, okay, I'll do what you. He said, Country, this is my boy. He said, hey, if you want anything, let me know. He stuck a card in my pocket. I didn't know who I was talking to. Couple of weeks later, I'm trying to buy me this house. I couldn't buy the house because I'm 20 years old, 21. It's supposed to be 21 in November. It's like September. I wasn't 21, so I couldn't buy the house. I got 21. And I needed $1,200. I didn't have $800. So my wife said, what about the guy you work for? He said, he let you have anything you want. He likes you. He lets you have anything. I said, oh yeah, I had his card. Let me call him. I went to feel for the card. She said, what you feeling for? I said, that card, what shirt did I have on? She said, that plaid shirt you had on? She had washed it. She got it, went in the pocket, showed us it was in the pocket. We got it and laid it out, got the iron and ironed it so we could see what was on it. It said Caesar Capone. I didn't know nothing about no Capone. I never, I'm too dumb to know what I'm looking at. Went and told my lawyer Tate, black lawyer. I said, hey man, I got a guy gonna let me have his money, I'm gonna get this house. I threw the card. This man said he gonna help me. He ran me out the office. Get out of here with that card, man. I don't mess with no Capone. I don't know what card I had. Don't know nothing about this. Went on for a couple of weeks, and I couldn't get the money. He didn't come back to me. I finally got the $400 up. I went downtown to the real estate where I was buying the house. I said, man, listen, I'm sorry it took me so long to get back to you. He said, we've been waiting on you. He said, I said, you've been waiting on me? He said, yeah, this been took care a long time ago. We're waiting on you for weeks. I said, what's my note? To give me some shit. He said, you ain't got no notes. No notes? No, it's been taken care of. Who take? I just dumbfounded. This man done took care. I don't have no house, no nothing. And got me a house. I go back and found out who this was. Caesar Capone, Al Capone brother. Now I don't know nothing about no Capone. So now everybody know I'm working for the Capone. So I go down to Chester, Muddy Water and them Hollow Wolf, all of them sitting out there. When I come in, say, hey, come on, Al Capone boy. Just get in the corners and say, I go in and cut my little record. I put my little tapes on my arm like this. They say, hey, Bobby Rush, you gonna say have some money today? I said, no, let me talk to my boss and see what he said. I go out the door. And I used that, didn't even know Al Capone. I used that, I got my master's, man. I used that, I recorded, and now I owned a lot of the masters because they thought I know Capone. I'm sorry, I didn't know the Capone. I lied about that. But I used that to my advantage. So that's kind of like the story of Bobby Rush, how I got to where I am now. Because of I'm gonna tell you, listen, show you how dumb I was. I said to Caesar Capone, I said, listen, I got a job down at the swing club down the street. I said, I got a job down there, me and Red Fox. I said, I can get Red Fox a job over there. He said, oh, yeah, okay. He said, you gonna give me a 2-week notice? I said, yeah, I'm gonna give you a 2-week notice till you find somebody to fill my place. He said, no sweat, no sweat. No sweat, you're a good kid. I said, okay. Went on down at the work. I'm making $13 a night now down to the club, you know. And when I was 7 over here, now I'm getting $13 a night. I had muddy water. I get muddy water, $5.50 for my guests. $5.50. Now I go down and work for a week. I got ready to get my money on that Sunday night. I said, hey man, where I get my money? He said, go out to the right, go out the door, go up 3 doors, and go upstairs and get your money. That sound like the last place I was getting my other check from. I goes up and go upstairs, same guy. You're a good man, you're a good man. Now, I don't know him in. I don't know nothing about I don't know him in. So I go to him 6 or 8 months later. I said, listen, I want to go play for my peoples. My people mean I want to play for the black people because I was all 99.5 all white. I went to Walton's Corner, west side of Chicago. I went to work for him for about 4 or 5 months, not knowing they were the same, although he was a black guy. Now I didn't know this at the time. I can talk about it now. So one day I was going to work. What I did Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I had a truck. I would pick up junk, trash, iron, tin, bottles, and everything through the week. And didn't want nobody to see me with the cap on. Didn't want to see Bobby Rich working like this with an old truck. I would take it to the junkyard and get money for it. That's how I'm making my money. Weekend, I was putting my little zoo suit on, and I was a musician, you know. But through the week, I had this truck. I was hauling junk and iron, picking up whatever I could pick up. So I went by one day, the iron place right behind Walton's Corner. I went behind Walton's Corner to drop some stuff off. I said, I'm going to get me $15 for my boss man. And if I buy my wife some groceries, some kids something to eat, and, you know, just because time was tough, early 50s, man. And I dropped it, and I saw his truck there, his car there, and the truck was parked in front of it. When I went to drop the iron off, it took me 15 or 20 minutes. When I came back, the truck was pulling off, a tow truck, with his car. And I said in my mind, maybe he need a jump. I said, I got this old truck, I could have jumped my boss off. But when I got home, which I live on Troy, Little Walter was living across the street on Albany. I was living on Troy, which is 2 streets back to back. So when I walked in the house, 10 minutes later, somebody knocked on the door. Said, police. I said, yes, sir. Went to the door. You Bobby Rich? I said, yes, sir. He said, you just left Walton the Corner? I said, yeah, I just dropped some iron off. He said, yeah. What do you see when you was up there? I said, when I came out, I said, when the car was parked, I was going to stop and ask him for a few dollars. When I came out, the tow truck was pulling off. He said, tow truck. He got on the phone and called. And they found the tow truck and the car had dropped this car off in Lake Michigan. The car was still floating with him in the trunk. Now, I don't know this. Now, he gets him out the trunk. Now I'm in now, right? It looked like I saved his life. I don't know nothing. I just tell him what I saw. So now I'm in, so I can do no wrong. I don't know anything about nothing. Didn't know nobody in the trunk. I was just telling what I saw, you know. So now they feel I'm one of the guys. So, and I tell this now a lot about it, and I got away with it. I got some things done because of that. I didn't know Al Capone, didn't know nothing about the Capone period. I just used it to my advantage. Now people know. You can't take my tapes back because I own them. Yeah, but I laugh about that. I can tell this now. That was a dangerous situation on me. But at my age now, I've been to the mountaintop and I've seen the promised land. And I tell you now, everything have changed, really remained the same. There's nothing new under the sun. So when people buy this book, I want them to look at this book, read this book, and take it from me. When you see a country boy like me survive out of all of this, you can too.
Well, as you said earlier, you have been nominated for many of your great works, And I know a few years ago, you was nominated for a Grammy for your album Porcupine Cook,
Yeah.
I believe.
Porcupine meat.
Porcupine Meat, I'm sorry. And you won your first Grammy. Can you tell me how that felt and, explain that feeling after so many years of, hard work and dedication?
It felt, I can't explain to you how it felt. It made me feel so good. Someone asked me, said, well, how do you feel becoming so late? The late never come to my mind. I was so happy to get it whatever time it was. It's better late than never. I felt bad for other people who had just as good a record, and sometimes better records. Johnny Taylor, Tyrone Davis, and many other people like that never got even nominated for what they did, and big gold records. But I was nominated and won a Grammy for Porcupine Meat. Maybe it was the clever writing, and I thought about what I was doing when I was writing it, like I did with Chicken Heads. And I wasn't talking about an animal at all, porcupine meat. I was talking about being in love with someone that you knew you loved them more than they loved you, but you couldn't leave them whatever the reason was. Now that's porcupine meat. It's too fat to eat and too lean to throw away. That's what I'm known for, is my writing ability. God had given me the gift to do that. God had really blessed me to be able to remember. I have 397 records. You know, I can almost recite them all. I'm not talking about a bragger situation, I'm talking about how blessed I am. For the young peoples out there, this is what God had given me. In a little shack down by the bay, not far from New Orleans, I met this pretty woman when I was about 19. She went and told her daddy she wanted to marry me, and the look on her daddy's face with it was a sight to see. He said, get out of here with you, and don't you come back no more. Well, I wanted to meet her daddy like a young man oughta, but he didn't want no blues singer like Barbara Rush to get married to his daughter. When I went by the house that day, he met me at the door. Dad, Mom, Big Brother John, the dog named Bo. Well, her brothers and sisters take the dogs on me and tear off all my clothes. I was running fast trying to get away down a dusty road. I was running fast trying to get away and across the railroad track. I could hear the kid throwing rocks at me every time I stopped to look back. Well, we sneaked down to get married. The judge said, do the sign of the swear to take this woman for your lawful wife and not a one-night love affair. Before I could open my mouth to say I do, guess who walked through the door? Dad, Mom, Big Brother John, dog named Bo. Well, I thought if I wanted to get married anyway, I had to find a way to elope. We decided to go to Las Vegas to get away from the nose of folk. Soon we got to Las Vegas. The same day I walked in, that was all her kin, all her friends. That doggone dog again. That's a lot to remember. If you don't believe it, wait till you get 87 years old and try it. That's a blessing, and I thank God for the blessing. I can recite all of my songs, 397 of them just like that.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm speechless right now, but it's crazy.
Let me tell you, I don't even think that I ever had anyone as young as you, look good as you look, to interview me, man. You're like my great-grandchild, man.
Appreciate it.
And I really appreciate, honestly, I really appreciate you, man. And I don't know what it is about me that make young people be into what I do. I know I'm an old man, but I guess but I still have young fashioned ways. You know, I modify my music, but what I talk about is modification already, because the young people know they heard the record Chicken Head. Well, them rappers got it from me. Rappers all across the country, they watches me. Because I started the rap. I was rapping for the rapper who was born. If it wasn't for Bobby Rush, it wouldn't be no 50 cent, it'd be a dime a quarter, something like that. Yeah, I started the rap thing. And that's where it comes from, you know. And I started this, man. And everybody my age, not everybody, but a lot of people my age always talking about the rappers and what the pants hanging down. I'm not talking about to endorse everything the rappers do. But we got to stop talking about just the pants down. we got to lift the head level up and the pants to come with it. That's what we have to do. Because the young people is what's happening in this world. Pretty soon they'll be me and you and what have you, and they got to take this world on. Because we got to modify the thing we do. That's what, the same thing with me. I'm an old man. When I came up, there was no electric lights. I remember when we got electric light in my house, we had to go outside to the toilet. They look bad, they smell bad. Now I got 9 bathrooms in my house. Smell good and look good. But what you do in them never change. Same result. So we got to modify and upgrade the kid head levels, so they can carry this world on. And when I talk about political now, a little bit political stuff, I was happy to see the Juneteenth Day because it may be talking about some black issues. And I'm a black man who, I'm not speaking about Black Lives Matter now, but what matters most to me is our votes. So what we got to understand is that, and what I'm mad about, that you gave us this holiday and we went to celebrate it. While we celebrate and enjoying it and jumping up and down about it, they're trying to take votes from us on this side of the fence. Put you in a place where you can't vote. That makes me sour and mad, because I'm old enough to know about this thing in the middle, where I've been, what I'm doing, and where I'm planning to go. And where I'm planning to go, I may not get there with you. Just because of what I'm saying, it may cause you to survive when you get there. You're going to get there. We got to take our shots, wash our hands, respect the virus. COVID-19 ain't no joke. But I'm telling you, all your young people and old people, you do it like you do when you sit down for dinner. You bless the table and ask God to bless it. Don't know who raised it, what field it came out of it, who fixed it, or where it come from. You ask God to bless it. It's the same way when you get your shot. You don't know who the doctor, where it come from, what's in it. You ask God to bless it. That's all you can do. I remember when I first sat down to do this interview, I was watching this young man. I'm an old man. I felt my chair to see would it hold me. But he's so young, he didn't even look right. He just said, he trusted it, that it would hold him. That's what we have to do with the shot. Trust that God would bless it. It would be good for your soul and the things around you, and keep you alive so you can talk about where it was, where it is, and where it's going. You young people, keep it alive. As I leave this interview, before I leave it, my plan is now to do everything and all I can do while I can. So when it comes a time I cannot do, I won't regret what I did not do.
Well, before I end this interview, I want to ask, what impact do your music bring to others? Your impact on your music, what impact does it have on other people?
I think my stand ability and being true to me as a black man and to my music. You know, I'm one of the few guys who are left who left in this line, a line of blues now, considered as the king of the chili circuit, and I'm proud to be. I have crossed over, but I never crossed out. It's too many of my people, I'm talking about my black people now, have crossed over, but they're crossed out. But I never forgotten the bridge that brought me across. That's what I'm gonna tell young people. Be good at what you do, especially your music people. Be good at what you do. That's what I strive to be. I strive hard to do the things I cannot do, because what the things I can do will take care of self. I strive hard to make sure that I'm good enough you can say, well, I don't like old Bobby Rush, but damn, he good. That's all what matters.
Okay. As we end this, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. As we wrap this up, I want to thank Bobby Rush for coming in today. Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to meet you. And this is Dilla Dale reporting for the MVSU News. Have a wonderful day.
And before we go, I want to end this like this, because I'm looking at young people, and you're a young man. Someone always asked me, said, Bobby Ray, so why do you sing the blues? Is it because your woman left you? You can have the blues when your woman leaves you, but you can also have the blues if they stay too long. Let me leave you with this and show you what I'm talking about. Have you ever been mistreated by someone you shouldn't have loved? Have you ever been mistreated by someone you shouldn't have loved? Out of all the men my woman could have left me for, she left me for the garbage man. No matter how bad she treated me, still can't get her out my mind. No matter how bad she treated me, still can't get her out my mind. Every time I see a garbage can, I think about her and the garbage man all the time. If I ever get my woman to come back home, I'm gonna buy myself a garbage truck. If I ever get my woman to come back, I'm gonna buy myself a garbage truck. And when my garbage can't get full, I'm gonna take it and dump it way out in the woods. Now that's the blues for you.
That wraps us up. We had a great interview today with the great Bobby Rush. This is Dealer Dale reporting for the MVSU News. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much for tuning in to MVSU News on WVSD TV.